Hey there, it's Gregson. Welcome back to Shifting Lanes. Today we're talking about an extremely controversial but also extremely awesome new vehicle, the upcoming Nissan Z. In this video, we'll be going over everything you need to know about this newly redesigned Japanese sports car before you research it, compare it to other sports cars, or even buy it. And even if you're not in the market for one, stick around and watch all the way to the end because the information I found when researching for this video is really interesting and you may learn a few things most automotive journals haven't mentioned before. Since the Z is a brand new vehicle from Nissan, we'll be going over everything you need to know about it. Things like engine type and power output, key features and tech, and what it will mean to Nissan as a whole. And if you're here for the new Z, consider watching our other content as well. We make tons of videos at Shifting Lanes like new car reviews, other what to know videos, consumer advice recommendations, and automotive news. If you'd like to see any of those, check the description below for playlists of everything we do, or click the card above for a hand-picked video for you. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up at the end if you enjoyed it or found it informative. Now, let's get into all the details of the brand new Nissan Z. If you're an automotive enthusiast, and if you're watching this video, there's a good chance you are, then you already know about the Nissan Z cars. Never meant to be true halo cars, the Z cars have always been about attainable, sporty performance on a budget. An everyman's sports car that wasn't just cheap, but also desirable and beautiful. When each generation came out, it's easy to say all of the Z cars hit that ethos perfectly. Now, Nissan ushers in a new generation of Z car with, well, the Nissan Z. We all thought it was going to be called the 400Z, but that was not meant to be. The concept was called the Z Proto, and that was about a 95% production ready car when it was unveiled, which basically never happens from manufacturers. Comparing the Z Proto and the production ready Z shows that Nissan wasn't just blowing smoke up our butts on that. The production Z looks great in my opinion and should attract a wide range of different buyers. But before we get too far on this point, let's go over all the mechanical bits because they are just as good as you've been hearing. How does a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 putting out 400 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque sound? Good? Of course it does. That's because the Z will be using this exact engine, which is taken straight from the Infiniti Q60 Red Sport, a car that is almost universally panned for having numb steering, but a fantastic engine. So with the Z, this power plant will do the job beautifully. Gleaning what that might mean for the Z as far as quickness, the Q60 Red Sport does the 0 to 60 deed in 4.4 seconds and has been tested to do the quarter mile in 12.8 seconds at 111 miles per hour. All figures of this are from Car and Driver. You can bet the Z will be right in this range. An interesting point here is that the Red Sport is all-wheel drive and the Z will send power only to the rear wheels. The biggest question for the new Z wasn't the engine. This VR30 DDTT has already been a confirmed success and is known to be a good engine. But would Nissan slap a manual gearbox to it in this day and age when we all know that manuals are going the way of the dinosaur? Thankfully, the answer was a huge yes. You will be able to get the Z with a 9-speed auto or a close ratio 6-speed manual. Thank the car gods. It's seriously refreshing to see companies make enthusiast-focused cars with a manual option, and the Z's closest competitor is the Toyota Supra, which had almost universal complaints about it as that car does not offer a manual. So we have a great powertrain with attractive shifting options, but the good news does not stop there. Nissan's engineers increased the Z's body rigidity, added an electronic power steering rack, and gave it wider front tires to help increase maximum cornering G-forces up to 13%. The front and rear dampers now have a new monotube shock absorber design, and the front double wishbone aluminum suspension has new geometry for improved straight line stability. Additionally, the independent rear suspension has received major upgrades. For braking, Nissan shoved 4-wheel ventilated disc brakes on the Z with an option to paint the calipers red. There are actually 2 different stopping options here. The Sport trim gets 2 piston front and single piston rears, while the Performance trim gets 4 piston fronts and 2 piston rears. Aside from the major stuff I've just outlined, there are some pretty neat features that the Z carries as well. The manual versions will get an advanced launch assist control system that will help to smooth out launches from a dig, with manual Performance trims getting their Synchro Rev Match system for automated optimal rev matching. Nissan also claims that the chassis, cooling, suspension, and steering systems have all been tuned for a more road-connected feel. No doubt the new Z is engineered to be a performance beast, and once we can get our hands on one, you can bet we'll be reviewing reviewing it to give you a full scope of what this car can really do. On top of all the performance bits, there's a lot more on this car that makes it a significant upgrade from the outgoing 370Z. The new Z has been redesigned from the ground up in almost every way, none bigger than the interior and tech offering. Nissan claims that the interior is designed to fit the driver and passenger like a glove. Now, I've driven a couple different variations of the 370Z, and while that was pretty good, the new Z is closely related to it, so it sort of sounds like marketing speak, but we'll reserve that judgment until we drive one. Around the driver, you'll find that everything has been updated. The center stack has 3 gauges on top of the instrument panel to show you boost pressure, turbo speed, and voltage. Right below that is a standard 8-inch touchscreen, and a larger 9-inch touchscreen is optional. The climate controls are also knobs, and they're located in their usual spots at the bottom of the center stack right behind the shifter. Moving towards the actual driver's seat and the instrument cluster, there's a 12.3-inch all-digital offering showing 3 different modes: normal, enhanced, and sport. Nissan says these 3 modes will have different displays for each. Normal mode offers a sporty feel with a center area for navigation, audio, and vehicle information. Enhanced mode pushes the tachometer and speedometer to the edges of the display, giving more space in the center for a larger navigation map and information to be displayed. Sport mode prioritizes the tach in the center with a shift up light at the top for shift information in the driver's field of view. Sport mode also allows for a boost gauge or G meter to be displayed. A new steering wheel incorporates your standard fare controls along with a quote-unquote vintage aesthetic. The seats look to be GTR influenced in many ways and can be had in either black woven cloth or an optional leather. Other standard features include push-button start, 2 USB ports, a 6-speaker stereo system, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility, and Bluetooth connectivity. And not to be outdone by many other competitors on the modern tech, Nissan has included a Wi-Fi hotspot and an 8-speaker Bose audio system with active noise cancellation as options. Buyers also have the choice of 3 different colors, black, red, and blue, while the special edition Z Proto, which has been limited to only 240 examples, includes yellow interior accents and upgraded seat materials. Lastly, pricing has not been released yet, but you can bank on the Z undercutting the Supra by many thousands of dollars. Look for a sub $40,000 base level car with a loaded Z pushing just under $50K. As far as the looks go on the new Nissan Z, I personally love them. I think the car is beautiful from pretty much every angle, including the front with the controversial gaping mouth design. Yes, the shape is very 370Z from the side, and many have said it's just a 370Z with a big time facelift, but I don't see that for about 90% of this car. The styling is different, the interior is vastly improved, and overall it just looks like a way more upscale offering than any other Z car of the last 30 years. But what I think about this car largely doesn't matter. What the new Z represents and what Nissan has done here is actually nothing short of miraculous, and let me explain. It's been 13 years since we knew the GTR would be coming here to the United States, and that's what everyone was hoping for with a big Nissan announcement recently. What we got was the promise of a new Z, and everyone was disappointed, except for me. I'm sure others were not, but it seemed like I was sort of an odd man out no matter who I talked to in the automotive community on this. Why was I so high on the new Z? Well, because of economies of scale. Everything that Toyota got reamed out for on the Supra and what Nissan didn't have the money to do with the new GTR, they could pour into the new Z. And that's exactly what they did. In an age where cars are becoming more efficient, more geared towards commuters, and less enthusiast focused, Nissan said screw that and gave us a twin-turbo V6 with a manual. A manual! Can you freaking believe that? And yes, I love that they put a manual in this car, because what is so lost on the last 15 years of car development is that speed and quickness isn't everything. Numbers at the track and the drag strip, they aren't everything. How a car makes you feel on a back road unequivocally is. A manual is just a better experience in that environment because you can't do those same speeds at a track as you can on a back road. And a manual is just much more engaging for that. At a track, sure, I want a dual clutch that can crack off shifts in a nanosecond. On a back road, I want to roll my own. And the fact that Nissan gave us one and they were able to do it themselves in an enthusiast car and not some base trim of a $20,000 economy car is nothing short of epic. There will won't be many sports cars made like this moving forward, and the new Z represents a glorious ode to years past. What does the Z mean to the Nissan brand as a whole? It shows that Nissan remembers those that love cars for driving, not just commuting. Nissan believes that sports cars still have a place in the world, and we can't thank them enough for it. Now, with all of that said, I want to hear from you. Do you guys like the new Z? Hate it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you plan on buying one? Leave a comment below to let me know what you think. I hope that this video does help you in making your potential buying decision a bit easier or has made you a more informed enthusiast. I'm really excited to see the new Nissan Z on roads around me, and I hope you are too. If you want to follow us outside of YouTube, you can find us at Shifting Lanes on Facebook and Instagram, where we post about the cars we review, our personal cars, and industry news and adventures. Again, my name is Gregson. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time.